St. Anthony, Quezon City. Please welcome Sir Neil Magbanwa. So I'm gonna turn off my screen now, Sir Neil, and then you can share. I'll leave it to you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Sir Alan. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Okay, so before anything else,
Hello.
hello po.
Reminder ulit everyone, please turn off your microphones muna. We can ask questions by the chat function. And later pala after the webinar, we'll have some time for questions. Thank you.
Early ba't nawala?
Okay na tayo, Sir Neil?
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Neil Magbanwa, and I'll be talking about e-classroom management. Because before, I think we're used to having it as classroom management, simply as classroom management. And since we are now having the new normal, so today we'll have e-classroom management. Okay, so before anything else, I'd like to say that I am one with you in prayer, that all these things be over and that we will be able to go back to our, normal lives. And but since we're still under MECQ, and I think the challenge now for schools is that we really have to step up, and that we really have to find ways to teach, and that's why online platforms now are very much in. So again, we'd like to request everyone to turn off their microphones para dire-diretso yung ating flow. So at this point, I'll be sharing with you the slides that I have prepared for this particular talk. Okay, so this particular talk is titled Managing e-Classroom. First, in this time of uncertainty, what are your fears as educators? So I want you to at least answer this question in your minds. What are our fears as educators? Do we fear the unknown? Do we fear what's in store for us in the new normal? Do we fear what's going to happen when it comes to these online platforms? Natatakot ba tayo sa mga pwedeng mangyari sa pagtuturo natin in the new normal kind of thing? Ikinakatakot ba natin yung mga bagay-bagay na hindi natin gamay, like technology? It's not actually underestimating teachers, but of course we know for a fact that there are some of us na talagang kailangan pang i-develop yung sarili when it comes to mastering technology or wielding the power of technology. So yun ba yung mga ikinakatakot natin? More than the fear of, losing a loved one, or more than a fear of anything. So what, in this time of uncertainty, what are our fears? So we have here of pandemic and education. This was actually taken from the World Economic Forum, and it says, the COVID-19 has resulted in schools shut all across the world. Globally, over 1.2 billion children are out of the classroom. Sakit, no? As a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms. That's the reason why we have this kind of talk today. And research suggests that online learning has been shown to increase retention of information and take less time, meaning the changes coronavirus have caused might be here to stay. And if this is true, then the new normal is definitely here to stay. The slow pace of change in academic institutions globally is lamentable. With centuries-old lecture-based approaches to teaching, entrenched institutional biases, and outmoded classrooms. However, COVID-19 has become a catalyst for educational institutions worldwide to search for innovative solutions in a relatively short period of time. As teachers, we always say that we have to be innovative and that we have to be open to different modalities of learning, and that we have to keep on exploring things. But in the past, we kind of little lax about it. But this time, this pandemic thing does not just actually urge us, but actually forced us to look for better means to reach out to our kids, to reach out to our students, to our pupils. And instead of, well, of course, this pandemic that we are experiencing right now is, of course, you have to agree with me that it's entirely a negative thing. But harboring on negativities would not help us, would not help our kids, would not help our students. So instead of trying to harbor on the negative, why not consider this situation as something na pwede nating baguhin yung kung ano man yung practices natin, and mas i-improve pa yung sarili natin as teachers, yung practices natin as teachers, and mas i-improve pa yung sarili natin as learner, para na rin may maituturo din tayong bago sa mga bata. Now, this entire talk will actually revolve around these three letters. It's the ECQ. Of course, all of you are familiar with these letters, right? Kasi kakalift lang nito sa iba, lalo na sa National Capital Region, at napalitan siya ng MECQ. But for purposes of this talk, this will not mean as enhanced community quarantine. Okay. So first, E. This would mean engage. Now, this ECQ thing in this particular talk would actually talk about the things that we teachers are advised to do, aim to do, or aim to be doing. These are the things that we are that we need, perhaps that we need to do. So one is engage. Now, engagement is key. And the most essential element of a successful learning is the level of student engagement. What does it mean by that? And when we talk about student engagement, we are talking about the willingness of kids, of our students to learn the lessons, especially now that we are under the new normal. Ang hirap. Kasi minsan, when we talk about classroom management, we find it difficult. Somehow we are having challenges when it comes to classroom management inside the traditional classroom. Now, how much more managing students in a virtual classroom? So yung, I don't know kung sa iba na-try na nila, pero para sa karamihan siguro, para sa karamihan din sa atin na nandito ngayon, I think the fear is present kung paano natin mamamanage yung klase, paano natin mamamanage yung classroom, mamamanage yung students. If we find it a bit difficult to manage an entire class in a traditional classroom, how much more managing a class in a virtual classroom? So technically, engagement is key. It is also under this particular topic where we could discuss the difference between traditional classroom and virtual classroom. Yung concept of discipline is really, really different. So, paano natin mai-engage yung mga bata para matuto, para makinig, para manood sa atin, para mag-aral? So, that's technically one of the challenges, major challenges that teachers are facing right now in the e-classroom under the new normal. And then the second is, the new normal is Gen Z's kind of normalcy. And the children of this generation live and breathe technology. It's so ironic that as teachers, we try to compete against gadgets. We try to compete against technology when it comes to getting the attention and engagement of our students. And this time, we are going into their world. And this time, we are going into that direction na sila, marami sa kanila yung mas may alam pa, at marami sa kanila, ito na yung buhay nila. So, question of engagement, how are we now going to compete with the things that they're doing now? Para mas piliin yung lessons natin, para mas piliin tayo. Because technically these kids are really children of technology. So this new normal is their kind of normalcy. So parang ang lalabas is that we are the abnormal ones and they're the normal ones. So ano pa yung mas gagawin natin as teachers? So that's still part of the challenge that we are facing. Now here, different learning modalities play crucial role in keeping student engagement up. Now, eto na tayo sa different learning modalities. I don't know if you've heard about this, the synchronous and asynchronous types of learning. I actually took this from library.spalding.edu. When you talk about the synchronous, when are we going to use this? It's reflecting on complex issues when synchronous meetings cannot be scheduled because of work, family, or other commitments. And for synchronous, discuss less complex issues, getting acquainted, planning tasks, and so on and so forth. Now going back, for the synchronous thing, it's the kind of thing that we're doing right now. We are talking about video conferencing. So ito na yung in sa tinatawag natin na e-classroom setup. For some schools, they try to make a balance between synchronous and asynchronous learning. Kasi kung titingnan natin, hindi naman siya po pwedeng lahat all throughout the entire semester or all throughout the entire school year, lahat synchronous. No. Hindi rin siya po pwede. Why? Kasi nag-iiba ang retention span, nag-iiba din ang response and atake ng mga bata when it comes to e-learning or when it comes to virtual classroom. Just imagine if we try to simply carry over the regular classroom schedule that we have in our traditional classroom to our online classroom. Just imagine nakaupo lang yung mga bata doon, tapos kaharap lang yung computer, kaharap lang si teacher for like 8 hours of synchronous learning. I don't think that's also advisable. And of course, asynchronous learning, just like using Google Classroom, sending links to students, sending research materials for them to study, sending assignments to students, and then give them time to accomplish those requirements, activities. If we try to have this asynchronous learning, it also develop, or we are also allowing flexibility to take place. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng bata pare-parehas ng circumstances, hindi naman lahat ng bata pare-parehas yung abilities, and all the more na hindi naman lahat ng mga bata pare-parehas ng environment. So I know that your admins or your some of your heads, and of course alam ko din na karamihan din sa atin, we are also attending certain seminars on these particular modalities. So as to the battle between synchronous and asynchronous learning, I don't think there should be, because I'd like to think that these two should be part of the students' learning modalities. I do think that these two should be an integral part of our students' learning processes. And then we have here Google Classroom, Google Meet, Facebook Messenger, Zoom, YouTube. So I'd like to believe that we are doing our best to at least educate ourselves on these things, like the Google Classroom. The Google Classroom is actually a very, very convenient platform for students. I was able to use this before, and also after the lockdown, ito na rin yung ginamit namin para sa klase ko. And in this particular platform, mas magandang, mas organized yung pagkakagawa. And at the same time, teachers could send assignments, teachers could send links to students, and they could also write their comments and their critiques sa mga outputs ng mga bata. Pwedeng i-share sa klase, pwede din namang individual. So try to the internet or YouTube has an avalanche of materials, like tutorial materials for everybody, for everyone. And Google Meet is the one we're using right now. And kung hindi din kaya, then we also have Facebook Messenger, Zoom, and for YouTube, technically ito yung mga ginagamit natin for like video resources para sa, like say for example, for asynchronous learning, that we are going to send kids like links para mas maintindihan nila yung lessons. Now, to maximize students' engagement, teachers must put themselves in their learners' shoes. And I call this the MECQ. So this is not modified, enhanced community quarantine. Instead, okay. In order for teachers to maximize students' engagement, we have first to look into several factors. One, what motivates the kids? What motivates them to study? What inspires them to learn? And we have to be very careful then, because there are kids na yung motivation nila is the thought of going to school is what motivates them to learn. So ngayon nasa bahay sila, nasa virtual classroom sila, are they still motivated? So these are the things that we have to look into. And then environment. So for environment, we are not just simply referring to the kind of environment na meron sila ngayon, like the classroom. As teachers, we are also designing the kinds of environments for the kids. So, and also, it goes also without saying that we also have to understand the kinds of environments that these kids have. Anong klaseng environment na meron sila? Anong pwede nating maitulong para mas magiging okay yung environment nila, mas conducive for their own growth, yung klase ng environment na meron sila. Hindi kasi naman lahat ng tao pare-parehas ng what do you call this? Hindi lahat ng tao pare-parehas ng environment, hindi lahat ng tao pare-parehas ng sitwasyon sa buhay. Something's wrong.
Okay, let's stand by while Teacher Neil just fixes some technical issues from his end. So far, we have some questions lang requesting the presentations. We'll ask Teacher Neil to kindly share his presentation if he's willing. Kamusta, Sir Neil? Okay na tayo?
Yeah, nagkaroon lang. Okay.
Yeah, and we will encounter this also during our classes with our own students. So, ganun talaga. Meron talaga tayong mga technical issues, but we just need to adapt and be patient.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. Okay. Nakikita na ba?
Yes, Sir Neil. We can see it.
The thing is that I find it hard to do this because there's no interaction. Anyway, okay. So we're with environment, and then of course, not everybody has the same circumstances. Ito yung mabigat kasi in dealing with e-classroom, we could not just simply say that everybody must be equal. We have to treat everybody equally. We also have to look into things like their circumstances. Lahat ba sila may internet connection? Lahat ba sila okay? Lahat ba sila um, mabilis yung net? Lahat ba sila may kakayahan? For the private schools siguro kahit papaano yung mga students from the private schools may kakayahan, but not everybody. Because, also in private schools, we have scholars that we also have to take into consideration, more so with the public schools. Okay. And then, of course, we have questions of students. When during the lockdown, when we tried to have the what do you call this? When we tried to have when we tried to use the Google Classroom, there are several questions being raised by kids, and of course you have to address those questions. Hindi pwedeng hindi, and you also have to prepare for a multitude of questions from kids, from parents. So as teachers, for us to really maximize students' engagement, we have to deal with these four, and we have to look into these four factors: the motivation, the environment, circumstances, and of course, there are so many questions. Tayo nga as teachers, di ba? We have so many questions about the new normal. We have so many questions about the things that we have to do. We have so many questions on whether are we going to be okay, or what should we do? What platform are we going to use? Ano bang sinabi ng principal? Ano bang sinabi ng school? Ano sinabi ni DepEd? All these things. These actually the things that keep on bothering us right now before the start of the school year. So if we are experiencing these things, how much more our students and their parents? So for us to better maximize students' engagement, first, motivation, environment, circumstances, questions, all these things, we really have to look into this and really have to take this into consideration. According to Tyler Hester, as he's my favorite educator, and he's kind of inspired me a lot to be, a teacher. And the first and most basic obligation of a teacher is to see the beauty that exists within every student. Every child is infinitely precious, period. So when we start from this vantage point, classroom management and its flip side, student engagement comes more easily. It's an outgrowth of students feeling loved and respected. Kung titingnan natin kanina yung sinabi natin na in order for us to maximize students' engagement, we have to take into consideration the MECQ, their motivations, their environment, their circumstances, their questions. And if we were able to address those, I believe our students, our pupils, our kids, and their parents would, have this kind of notion that they feel loved and that they feel respected. Especially the parents. Kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng ibigay na lang na, like, for example, pag-enroll nila, ito yung gagawin ng mga bata. I am sure that schools, before they get to start their classes, would have orientation for the parents and would explain thoroughly how are they going to conduct classes, be it synchronous or asynchronous, be it blended or in whatever modality it may be. So next, letter C is communicate. So of course, communication is very important in classroom management. Technically, I think this is the most salient or the most important, the most vital requirement in e-classroom communication. But communication is a two-way process. And let's go back to Google Classroom. So learning management systems, or the LMS, like Google Classroom, allows the teacher to post almost everything related to her lesson, such as assignments, instructions, links to quizzes, links to videos, and other resource materials. Also, students' comments and queries are organized and visible to their classmates. Um, I wish I could ask if you've tried Google Classroom, and then you'd say, yes, we did. Yes, we're doing it right now. But, you know, since all your microphones are
We can ask them to say their experience dun sa chat.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
alright.
if you guys have used Google Classroom, can you type it
Yeah.
in the chat?
Kasi
Thank you.
parang walang nag-share sa chat, or hindi ko lang siya nakikita.
Meron naman, may mga nag-share naman.
Meron.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, kasi it's, in doing this Google Meet, when I'm presenting, like say for example, I'm using my laptop and then I'm presenting something, I cannot see myself. So all I could see is the PowerPoint presentation. That's why I have another device, my phone, where I could see what's happening while having the presentation. Okay. So yun. Now, so are you using Google Classroom now? Or have you used Google Classroom before the end of the school year? I'm sure that all of us were still ano ba? Yeah. The lockdown happened in March, so hindi pa tayo nakakapag-graduation, right? So for purposes of finishing the entire school year, were you able to use Google Classroom?
Yeah, there are some, Sir Neil, that are using.
Yes, nakapaggamit sila. And the best thing about Google Classroom is that it's para lang din talaga siyang classroom. Okay? And it's for free. It's just, ang kailangan lang siguro is that the school, or you have to register it as a school account para mas magamit mo yung lahat ng interface at magamit mo lahat ng features ng Google Classroom. Okay. So, kagaya nito, this is my Google Classroom. You can see it. It's Chernil's class. Yun. I posted there the PPT, or the PowerPoint presentations, para at least as their materials. And then ito naman, kids submit their requirements. Makikita mo din kasi. So, para siyang minsan nga, for a teacher in the regular classroom, sometimes the Google Classroom is doing all the work for the teacher and organizing all the work for the teacher. And plus, we talk about communication as a two-way process, and Google Classroom just does that. It actually allows for a two-way process of communication. Like say, for example, and of course, when you try to also have asynchronous learning using Google Classroom, may feature na ngayon yung Google na you could link Google Classroom with Google Meet, where you could have a synchronous discussion with the kids, or with your students. So technically, as of this time, I think Google Classroom is really the one to be. But I mean, if there are other platforms, or if there are other apps that you could use, that's just fine. For as long as you will be able to conduct your class, and you'll be able to have lessons with the kids, and it will permit two-way communication process. That's just fine. And of course, kapag hindi pa masyado yung Google Classroom, like say for example, hindi pa natin masyadong gamay, definitely you could always use Facebook Messenger. I think now, Messenger has a feature na it could accommodate 40 or 50 persons in one conference. And of course, real-time communication is essential, and that's what we're doing right now. Real-time communication is communicating through Google Meet or teleconferencing, Zoom, and of course Facebook Messenger. And oh, um, if you've heard about the flipped classroom model or the flipped classroom concept, since we are talking about asynchronous learning, there will be times that our meeting with the kids or face-to-face virtual meeting with the kids, pwede siyang gawin na um, it would just be an avenue for sharing, for like reflection, discussing the things that the kids learn while doing the activity. Hindi siya kailangan na pure lecture type. Like say for example, we have done where we have assigned um, problems for the kids to be to solve, and we have we have given kids assignments. And the next time or the next time that we will have real time communication would be devoted for reflections, would be devoted for how's their experiences or how are their experiences, and would be devoted for uh, kung ano yung mga natutunan nila sa mga ginawa nila. And communication to parents paves the way to a smooth delivery of instruction. And we should not forget the parents. Why? Because parents serve as partners in this endeavor. So communication or having an open communication lines with parents actually helps to keep track their kids, our students, kung hanggang saan na sila, ano yung ginagawa nila. Now more than ever, this new normal would really give an entirely new meaning to the phrase that home is the first classroom of a child. So technically, parents serve as our partners. And of course, we also have to make our parents understand that we are not doing these things to complicate the lives of their kids. That we are doing everything not to compromise the quality of learning that their kids rightfully deserve. And of course, aim to customize learning for each student. Well, this particular statement is actually debatable, but aim lang naman. If we could aim to customize learning for each student. For example, hindi lahat naman kasi 'di ba nabibigyan ng equal opportunities, and not everybody has the same circumstances. Not everybody has the same environments. Just what we discussed earlier. So, if we could design certain learning packages for the kids na walang internet, minsan lang nakakapag-internet, and para lang that they will not be left behind. At least we could do something for them, and we could do something about their condition. Could do something about their situation. Expected outcome: teachers must be able to what? So what are the expected outcomes of having two-way communication? What are the expected outcome of having of communicating with parents? What are the expected outcome of having or conducting real-time communication with the students? Expected outcome is COVID. So any guesses what this COVID stand for? Teachers must be able to collaborate with students and parents. This new normal, e-learning, e-classroom is a very good avenue for collaborative work. This is a very good avenue for students, for teachers, and parents to have a collaborative effort to ensure that students are still given quality education, and observe students' attitude toward the lesson. In e-learning, we still can observe our students' attitude toward the lesson. Like say, for example, in real-time communication or the video conferencing, we are not supposed to allow the kids to just simply put a picture. Okay? Kasi minsan hindi mo alam yung ginagawa nila eh. Like say, for example, nagtuturo ka or nagdi-discuss ka and someone is sharing for the rest of the class kung paano nakapag-arrive sa isang conclusion o paano na-solve yung problem. And without you knowing it, since picture niya lang yung nakikita, kung ano na yung ginagawa niya. Like say, for example, natutulog na pala siya. So, technically, di ba? Hindi mo, o kumbaga, parang naging escape niya yung lesson na yon to do, or yung face-to-face, or yung real-time communication to do something else. So for teachers, if we have this real-time communication, like say, for example, naka-schedule tayo for asynchronous learning, so naka-video conference tayo, always require the kids to show their faces, live faces, and value students' differences. It's settled. Not everybody is the same, and our students are different. And our students came from different backgrounds, different social backgrounds, different family backgrounds, different economic backgrounds, and different religious backgrounds. So we could not just, our treatment for this one should not be the same as our treatment for that one, because especially if we know that these kids have are very sensitive to certain issues. So as teachers, we have to value students' differences and inspire students. I stands for inspiring students. Well, of course, if you're able to develop a collaborative relationship with students and parents, and you were able to observe your students' attitude toward the lesson, and you were able to address several factors or several issues for him to keep on track. And then, of course, definitely when you value students' differences, then definitely you will be able to inspire your students. Yun naman yung hinihingi, or yun naman yung parang pinaka-reward natin, that we get to inspire our students, that in our own little ways we were able to change or create an impact in their lives and develop harmonious relationship with students in the virtual classroom. For teachers who were so successful in developing harmonious relationships with students in the traditional classroom, in the ordinary classroom, there's no reason why we cannot, or you cannot develop a harmonious relationship with students in the virtual classroom. Kasi the only difference na naging doon is that the transfer lang kayo online. So technically, when we as teachers, when we're so passionate about what we do and we're so passionate about our craft, then definitely there's no reason why we cannot develop a harmonious relationship with students in the virtual classroom. So, maaalala nyo na ba si ECQ, si MECQ, tsaka si COVID? And the last one is Q. We have engage, communicate, and quit being the center of attraction. And this time, you have to empower your students. sana naman hindi harsh yung sinabing quit being the center of attraction. Well, I think it should also be a message to me as a teacher. Students must have a sense of ownership in the virtual classroom. Well, whether we accept it or not, as teachers, we are always the center of attraction in a traditional classroom. The moment we stand in front and the moment we open our mouth, we became the center of attraction. And sometimes there are traditional teachers among us who do not want students to really talk inside the classroom. Teachers would do the talking and students would just do the listening. Although hindi na siya dapat ngayon kasi dapat empowered yung mga bata, dapat ganito na yung mga bata. But then, in the virtual classroom, we can never do that. We can no longer do that. Why? Because if we just simply try to talk and talk and talk and talk, especially in real-time communication, in real-time classes, in real-time situations, then we will fail as a teacher. So, when we talk about ownership, we talk about presenting students with various opportunities to learn. Teachers simply have to facilitate their learning. In this new normal, kids are at home and they enjoy the blessing of a faster internet. So, when it comes to this, mas madami silang sources of information. Mas madami silang, what do you call this one? Mas madami silang mapag-aaralan. Mas madami silang mapupuntahan using the different online platforms. So technically, as teachers, we just have to facilitate learning. We just have to guide them what to learn, what to study, what to read, give them links, and then give them assignments. Like say, for example, reflection papers, position papers, reaction papers. And then the moment you meet face-to-face in the virtual classroom, it must be an avenue for a wonderful sharing of ideas. And then the next one is ask students to lay down their goals and have them reflect on their progress in achieving those goals. There was one article that I read that in virtual classrooms or in e-classrooms, teachers could ask kids to identify or jot down or write down their goals, and then have an inventory of these goals, whether these goals are being achieved, whether these goals are achievable, or whether these goals are realistic. Okay. And then we have academic mindset for students and growth mindset for teachers. Paano to? Students must develop a strong sense of inquiry. Teachers must be receptive to feedback and seek constructive criticism. Now, under the new normal, we have this too. For the students, we have the academic mindset. Academic mindset, hindi lang siya kasi pwedeng mindset lang. It must be academic. Why? Kasi yung mga bata, they are already masters of technology, so to speak. So pwede yung mindset nila nasa Dota, yung mindset nila nasa online games. So as teachers, it is a challenge for us to divert such mindset and put it into this academic mindset kind of thing for them. So also, hindi lang siya dapat yung teachers yung pinanggagalingan ng sources of information, pinanggagalingan ng lahat ng information sa lesson. Students must develop a strong sense of inquiry. Through what? Bigyan sila ng things to work on that would trigger their strong sense of inquisitiveness, that trigger their sense of inquiry, their sense of asking questions. And in turn, nati-trigger din yung kanilang sense of higher order thinking skills, which is not a new concept in the academe. And for teachers, under the new normal, there is no room for us being onion skin. Teachers must be receptive to feedback. And of course, we also have to seek constructive criticism. And when you talk about constructive criticism, it's not all praises. And we should be happy if there are people, there are colleagues who would remind us that, hey, we're kind of doing something not good or not acceptable. Or try this, it may improve your style, or try this, it may improve your or it will improve the way you conduct the lesson. So for the teachers, it's a growth mindset. I've read one article where in one country, teachers stopped online classes or e-learning or e-classes or e-classroom because teachers are being bullied by parents. Kasi mga parents parang they're there they're there with nandun sila habang nagkakandak ng lesson yung teacher, and then they try to mock the teachers, the way the teachers pronounce the words, the way teachers are teaching the lessons. I'm not saying that it's okay. I am saying it's never okay. But take this as a challenge to us teachers to really better our craft, to better ourselves. Kasi kung sa traditional classroom, we only have like 30 sets of eyes, or 40 sets of eyes, or 20 sets of eyes, yung nakikinig sa atin, sometimes hindi naman na-judge yung sinasabi natin. In the e-classroom, the audience has just doubled. So, in a way, this reminds us to really do something and to prepare for our lessons, to go over with the lessons, to be better teachers to our students. Siguro yun na lang din yung challenge sa. Because I'm not saying na, well, of course, definitely, we can have better dialogues with parents when it comes to, or should these problems arise in the Philippines. But, we are not supposed to let our students and our audience in the virtual classroom, we're not supposed to let them catch us unaware of the things that we are saying. We're not supposed to let them see us not knowing what we are teaching. So it's academic mindset for students and growth mindset for teachers. Be aware of the learner's rights to be respected, and be aware of the individual differences, and give them equal share of your attention, guidance, and direction. This is not that different from the usual classroom, from the traditional classroom. Sometimes unconsciously, we are not aware that we tend to favor someone in the class. Probably that the top one in the class, or probably that someone who is so dependable in the class, or that someone who is a leader of the class. But in the virtual classroom, mas namamagnify kung sino yung mas binibigyan natin ng atensyon, and mas binibigyan natin ng guidance, at mas dinidirect natin yung buhay. We are not supposed to do that to just one. If we can do that to one person, then we have to do that for everybody. We have to do that to everybody. And then always be exciting. Aim to be different every day. Well, this is somehow teaching strategy, but we cannot just simply we could just simply separate strategy from management, because if you are so exciting and you tend to be different every day, there's this notion from the kids that they are so excited. What else could you offer for this particular day? And so you still you tend to manage the class in such a way that they are so eager to learn, that they are so excited for the things in store for them, because you prepared something for them, right? So it's always be exciting and aim to be different. They say that teachers are very successful, and they're very, very good. We're very, very good in putting up masks, because sometimes the kids don't realize how much pain we're carrying, what we're going through, because we could laugh with them, we could make them laugh, and we could make them be so excited with the things, with the lessons in store for them. So, well, kudos to the teachers who are doing that, and continue doing that, okay? Even in the e-classroom, even in the virtual classroom. Aim to be part of your students' world. To empower students is to make them realize that you can be part of their world. Diba? Kasi there are some of us who tend to compare our generation to the generations of the kids, and it's different and it's not proper. For one, we have different backgrounds, and we have different experiences, and we have different circumstances. So technically, we cannot just simply compare our generation to that of our students' generation. Instead, for us to better understand them, why not challenge ourselves to at least be part of their world, right? Like, say, for example, in conducting lessons, why not contextualize and localize our lessons, our quizzes? Oh, by the way, those terms, contextualization and localization, I've learned that from my wife. Okay, anyway. So why not contextualize, why not localize lessons for them? Para mas maintindihan din nila, right? Like, so for example, why not put characters of the online games that they're playing? Kasi if we try to research about it, some of the things that they are doing online, that they are being hooked online, sometimes these things or these characters have philosophical foundations, were taken from literary pieces written by prominent persons of the past. So technically, why not aim to be part of our students' work? Maybe, just maybe, it would be a nicer place to be in. Do not force your culture into your students. Whoa. Of course. And in managing a classroom, in managing an e-classroom, students will have an avalanche of information, and they would even have more information, more resources than us, and that's a possibility. So we could not just simply, if we are so directed and we are so close into that, like, so for example, into the things that we believe in, sometimes the kids would just disprove it with new research, with new studies, with new ideas. So we are not supposed to force our own culture to our students. Another one, of course, well, in managing a class, of course, there should be proper decorum. Of course, there should be, they cannot just simply go to class na nakasando or whatsoever. But when you talk about, forcing one's culture into our students, the things that we believe in, the things that are considered our comfort zones, that's not just our students' thing. So why not consider that? And lead the students to be responsible social media users. I used to have Facebook, and now I don't. And part of the reason would be there are so much toxicity on Facebook. I do have Instagram because I find it so pretty. Nandun lang lahat yung pictures ng wife ko, pictures ng anak ko. Okay. But it is high time for us to really campaign and do something for this, on this. We have to lead our students to be a responsible social media user. And it's a kind of good thing that this new normal now is dawning upon us, that we get to communicate with the kids online, and that we get to somehow encourage them to be responsible individuals, to be responsible citizens, that we get to encourage them not to share fake news, that we get to encourage them not to plagiarize, that we get to encourage them not to involve in not so good things or engagements. Let's create a culture of respect in our virtual classroom. And it's very important, especially that it's online. Sometimes we get kids get to record it. Sometimes andun lang siya. So if we tend to disrespect a person, nandyan lang siya. Nandyan yung account of disrespect. So in this new normal, in this in this kind of situation, let us all create a culture of respect in our own classrooms. Challenge the students to do and be more than expected. I think that's sustainable. And part of managing a class, we have to keep on challenging our students to be more and to be better versions of themselves. Here, we have to develop a culture of excellence amongst our students. In the ordinary classroom setup, sometimes we are not just simply contented with a mere yes or no answer. Even if, even if we know that the answer is no, and then the student answered yes, we have to ask them to qualify their answer. The same thing in online classroom, the same thing with e-classroom, with virtual classroom, the same thing. We are not supposed to settle with mediocrity. So we have to develop a culture of excellence amongst our students. We have here just some words to ponder. Okay. Assume the best in your students. Now, if a student does not or choose not to meet one of your classroom expectations, they needed to know that you love them, but not their misbehavior. They needed to know that you cared for them and would not accept their poor choice because it would ultimately hurt them and did not reflect how wonderful they truly are. Because people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. These are actually words of Tyler Hester. He's really one of my influences as a teacher. So assume the best in our students. How to manage a class? Assume the best in our students. We're not supposed to judge them for what they fail to deliver. Never abandon your weak students. The true test of a great teacher is when he will be able to extract that inner strength in a child, in a student, and eventually make him a better version of himself or herself. In my case, I have so many. I call them success stories. And I was just so thankful that they let me be part of their journey into better individuals, in becoming better individuals, in becoming better versions of themselves. So, think about that. That we are not supposed to abandon our weak students. All the more that we have to take care of them. And because sometimes the best student in the class, sometimes it's genetic. I mean, they don't need us sometimes. They just need our guidance, little guidance. They just need they just need us to be facilitators of their learning. But there are kids who need us because they're weak. Because they are still preparing to fly. Their wings are yet to be fully developed. And if we abandon them, then definitely, it's just short of saying we have left them to die. So the true test of a great teacher is when we will be able to extract that inner strength in our students and eventually make them better versions of themselves. So more than being managers, this is a classroom management, but more than being managers, we have to be leaders as teachers at this time of uncertainty. Kasi pag sa classroom, just have to stare at the kids, okay. Minsan, tumayo ka lang, that's actually giving them the notion that, they have to be quiet and that they have to stop whatever that is unnecessary that they're doing. But in the e-classroom, no. Sometimes our being managers sometimes has nothing to do with their being students. And that's why we have to step up also. From being managers, we have to be leaders in the truest sense of the word. We have to lead them to learn more and be more. And having said that, expected outcome, wait. Technically, we are now entering the first wave of a new normal in the educational system. This is first wave. If we tend to do all these things, the expected outcome could be our students are wired. Of course, we know what being wired is. They have mastered technology. They have they were able to wield the power of technology, and they've just made technology as servants and not their masters. They're advanced. In any way, they are advanced. And of course, they are valued and they feel valued. And technically, they are empowered. They feel empowered. Wired, advanced, valued, empowered. Remember this. We do not know what the future holds, but we can always trust ourselves that we can do something for our students by delivering quality education they rightfully deserve. Which is so cheers to the good teacher that we are and to the far better teacher we will be. Thank you. So we're now open for room.
Thank you, Sir Neil.
Yes, hello.
Grabe. Sobrang
And I was
daming
sweating so
nagsasabi na-
hard. Grabe.
Ano yan?
Naka-aircon na, nagpapawisan pa din.
Pinagpawisan ka ba?
Yeah.
No, ang daming nagko-comment, sir, na ang galing daw ng mga acronyms mo. Sobrang
Thank you.
tugmas. Saka updated talaga, pati yung wave na gawan mo ng acronym, no? Bagong-bago.
Opo.
Pero
we can share this to them if they want.
yes, of course. Yes, thank you very much for your generosity. So everyone, narinig niyo ni Sir Neil na he will share his presentation. And maraming salamat talaga to encourage the teachers, no? Especially alam mo yon, we need to acknowledge talaga, no, that our kids are really more advanced than us in this realm, no? In this new normal.
True.
So parang it's our turn naman maging we have to learn naman. 'Di ba?
Yes.
Learn something that our kids are already good at. I just like to go back, no, one of the first questions in our chat, no, is not only the fear of learning new technology, but also the fear for those students who may not have the same technological privileges, no? Yung mga baka mahina internet or yung device nila, they're just sharing. How could we address this? And I know SSA, I think, has something, doing something to address this also. Can you share?
Well, actually, for in as far as our school is concerned, we are doing everything to meet the demands ng mga bata. For one, we are planning to have a blend of asynchronous and synchronous learning strats or learning modalities. And then we also have, I don't know if it's already confirmed that we are planning to have online books for the kids para at least mas okay para din sa kanila. And technically, kasi I believe that we are ready in as far as our school is concerned, we are ready for the next school year. Pero siguro kasi to address this particular issue, kasi not all children have the same circumstances in the same environment when it comes to learning environment. Siguro through the initiative of the school, pwede nilang pag-usapan, pwede nilang pag-isipan kung ano yung pwede nilang gawin. We could also resort to providing certain learning packages for the kids na ipapadala sa kanila. Like say, for example, in the provinces, when I had a talk with one administrator in the province, what they plan to do is to really make this learning packages na ipapadala online sa email, or yung iba naman, since medyo naging relax na yung condition dun sa kanila, nag-print out sila ng mga handouts, ng mga modules para sa mga bata. Just, para lang sa yung first quarter, kasi for public schools they will still parang August 24 pa yung start nila eh. So ang gagawin nila yun lang muna, para siyang modular yung dating, and parang distance learning lang din, and of course with the help of the parents. Tapos teachers are open sa chat, sa iba't ibang communication apps sa online para makapag-communicate yung mga bata sa kanila. That's the best thing that they could do. Kasi like say for example in a private school, kahit pa sabihin natin na ito yung requirement natin, ito yung we are more than ready. But to the end of the students, sometimes it's different. Kasi minsan kahit gaano kahanda yung school, yung bata hindi ganun kahanda para sa bagay na yan. Like say for example, kids, dahil walang internet, they could not attend a video conference. They could not attend a face-to-face, virtual face-to-face classroom setup. So aside from having synchronous learning, schools must also look into the possibility of blending it with asynchronous ones. Kasi yun nga, to address the issue of differences in um, learning environment, differences in circumstances. And yun.
Kaya rin that's why ako kasi in Thames International School, they told us na dapat talaga less ang synchronous sessions kasi some kids nga share devices, so they
Yun
don't
lang
have
din.
their device the whole time, so they have to schedule their diba, their
Yes.
usage. So mahirap kung all the time nagbi-video ka tayo.
Yes.
And can you imagine, guys, right now, of course, this is a webinar and we have like 81 participants. But if you have like, even if you have 30 students, diba? Ang hirap ma-monitor. So I think the synchronous ones are really just for clarification, for mga ngamusta, for so that you can see the kids. And then yun nga ang naisip ko rin I'm sure we can also ask help from our own kids, 'di ba? Kung para like Sir Neil said, we need to be part of their world. So we can ask our own kids, paano ba? What are the trends? What are the things that will make our lessons more interesting? Another question that is we can see here, I think a common question is the certificates, no? We will be sending certificates as long as you send us your email address. So if you were able to attend this webinar here in Meet, we have copies of your email address, so we'll be able to send you certificates after. And then I'm just looking at if we have more questions, no? So Sir Neil, to clarify, yung sinasabi mo, no, yung packages, parents can pick that up in the school, no, yung mga parang hard copies.
Yes,
so
pwede.
Hindi kailangan electronic lahat. Another
Kasi
thing
pala mga na relax naman na yung situations nila.
Yeah, pwede nang pwede nang
basta wala lang din yung mga bata. Sila pwede, mga parents.
Oo. And then another thing pala, if I can share my own experience, no, etong situation nila ngayon, yung online learning, kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir Neil, no, na magiging parang flipped learning na to, and our job is to guide them to do the right research, to point them in the right direction. So ang nangyayari, mas malaki yung trabaho ngayon ng estudyante to gather all the materials. So medyo may konting adjustment talaga in terms of mas nasa-stress pa sila ngayon kaysa sa pumapasok sa classroom where we basically spoon-feed the information. Now that they're on their own, there's more responsibility on their end, no? So yun yung mga adjustments that we can expect from, so hindi lang tayo yung mag-a-adjust, sila rin mag-a-adjust on the workload.
Yes.
And then another thing pala, I think that concerns teachers din, no. Etong kagaya nito, no, we are on camera. Everyone is on camera, and sometimes we're expected to talk to our kids. Paano ba 'yon? Nahihiya ako. Hindi ako shy, camera shy ako. Paano ba 'yon? How do we practice, no? Our on camera personalities, kumbaga. Kasi iba yung may kausap talaga tayo, 'di ba? Na the kids are there. Iba yung ganito na we're all alone. Sometimes ako mismo, I feel silly talking to a microphone or to a camera. No, how do we practice this, Sir Neil? Kasi you seem to be gamay na gamay mo na itong on-cam personality.
Actually siguro pag lang naman, we just have to treat it as if we are inside the classroom. Mahirap siya at first, but I think we'll get the hang of it as we go along. Kasi, kumbaga, students naman natin sila and yun lang din kasi siguro this time sa ganitong klaseng platform, it requires preparation or it requires more preparation from teachers. Because we can't afford to be caught unaware of the things that we are saying. Na may mga sinasabi tayo tapos biglang 'di ba? Parang we were taken aback na parang mali. 'Di ba? So, yun din minsan kasi, yun din kaya nagiging parang nagkakaroon ng fear yung teachers din to meet the kids face to face virtually, because for fear that they might be judged, for fear na hindi lang yung bata yung audience nila pero may mga nakikinig pa sa iba. When you try to when you will be able to get past that, that fear, and consider yourself to be, acknowledge yourself to be really good at this, and it's just a matter of acknowledging your worth as a teacher na kaya ko to. It's, diba? Kasi teachers tayo we are supposed to be the best in this particular field. So, kumbaga, consider lang natin na may sa classroom tayo tapos may camera nakaharap, parang evaluation lang natin, 'di ba? That there are evaluators na nakaupo sa likod, and that we have to be our best self as a teacher, that we have to be our best as a teacher. So every day we have to be our best pag sa ganitong klaseng sitwasyon.
It's already 3:32, no? Siguro we'll just have two more questions and then we can end our webinar. I think these are also I'm getting this from the chat and one from Facebook. So I think they're kind of related. So I think Sir Neil, do you teach the senior students, or do you also teach younger students?
Sa classroom setup, I am teaching in senior high school, but I'm training in journalism wise and public speaking wise. I have my elementary broadcasting team and journ team, and I also have my junior high school and senior high school broadcasting team and journalism team.
So I guess yung question really is how then do you parang adjust for younger or older students? No, I'm sure magkaiba yung approach natin, lalo na sa online, 'di ba? Kasi
yes.
In person mas madaling itansya, pero online I'm sure it's different for the younger people than the senior students.
Well, it's for the younger kids, for the kids, like say for grade schoolers, it's a matter of looking and preparing for various activities and lessons na nagsusuit sa kanilang edad. Like say for example, for radio broadcast, or in my case, for radio broadcast and for journ, I could not just simply give them topics na medyo complex and complicated kagaya sa high school. And then also, it's a good thing that on the 25th, on Monday, we'll start with our online summer classes for journalism and public speaking. So what I have prepared now is that may mga worksheets and videos na child-friendly. Kasi sa condition natin ngayon, kung tutusin, ang dami-dami din natin pwedeng gawin Like so for example, while I'm using the Google Classroom or while I'm using the Google Meet with the kids, pwede ako mag-share ng video na ipapalabas sa kanila, ipapakita sa kanila. Then right after that short clip, I'll be asking what they think of these clips, or what are their reflections, or what can they say about these things. So, yun lang din. It's a matter of preparing for, yun lang din. Kasi magkaiba din talaga yung preparation. Okay? And this time, we have to be very sensitive, and we have to be extra careful for the content. Hindi po pwedeng na nakuha natin sa YouTube and meron palang sa languages pala yung content mismo, hindi siya maganda, and it might influence the thinking of the kids, or it might influence the kids. May mga ganun So for teachers, before we have to really filter the contents of the things that we will be sharing to the kids.
And I think I'm getting a message also from Facebook na I think yung mga packets na printed, yung mga hard copies, mas okay yun for the younger kids, no? So that the parents can really guide them using the packets that you guys give. And then maybe also baka kailangan din ng konting training sessions with the parents, 'di ba? To help you guys with the young, especially for the younger students. And then lastly, since our webinar is entitled e-classroom management, no? There's a question here in the chat. Do we have some kind of metric to say that we are succeeding in managing our e-classroom, no? Ano kaya yung measurements na pwede natin tingnan to say na okay, we are managing this good, or mayroong pagkukulang somewhere? Meron kayang ganon?
Siguro titingnan natin kasi bago lahat to eh. And sometimes parang yung metric system natin sa traditional classroom, sometimes hindi siya magiging applicable sa online one. Siguro tingnan natin din yung engagements ng mga bata. May mga bagay na pinapasubmit tayo. Tapos sa face-to-face meet up natin, are they excited? Yung mga ganon. Kasi makikita mo din yun sa quality ng work na pinapasa nila. Like for example, when I started sa Google Classroom nung lockdown, and then I tried to communicate to the kids and give them assignments. Nakaka-overwhelm lang din yung responses. Hindi lang siya, they were not just submitted for the sake of submission eh. Kung makikita mo kapag binasa mo yung mga gawa, talagang nakakatuwa kasi ibang-iba doon sa classroom na limitado yung resources nila kaysa doon sa pinasa nila online na ang daming references tawag nito naka-outsource pa sa iba't ibang resource materials. Kaya ang ganda lang din. Parang doon ko din I came to realize, this particular situation might just be the kind of thing that we're waiting for the kids to really be empowered when it comes to digital technology. Siguro with the guidance of teachers. Yun nga din, kasi as teachers talagang we have to work twice as hard to at least master or be so efficient in this kind of technology, in this kind of digital world. Kasi yung mga bata, they are already efficient in a way. In a sense, talagang gamay na nila ito. Kaya, yun.
So I guess yun nga, no, I've also heard this before, no, na yung students na usually shy in classroom, hindi sila shy online pag nagsasalita sila.
Yes.
Kasi nga, 'di ba, parang mas feeling nila protected sila in this environment. So may magandang side itong online learning. So it's already 3:40 and we've been over time for 10 minutes. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating, and thank you very much, Sir Neil, for sharing your insights.
Thank you, Sir Alan,
and making your presentation so entertaining with all your acronyms. Again, this webinar is being broadcasted live on Facebook, and soon it will remain there in Facebook. So if you want to review or share this to your colleagues, you can watch this webinar again on facebook.com/brilliantcreationspublishing. And we will also link it to our website at brilliantcreationspublishing.com. So again, if you want an e-certificate of this seminar, just send us an email at brilliantcreations.seminar@gmail.com with your complete name, school, and city or province. So again, thank you very much. Have a good weekend, everyone. Stay safe and wash your hands. So see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.